This video is going to cover how to do operations with mixed numbers and decimals. So again, we're going to be doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But this time we're going to try it with mixed numbers. So 2 and 1/2 would be an example of a mixed number, and decimals, so 3.2, and we're going to practice doing these operations. Take a second, pause the video, make sure that you have a calculator available to you. So either open a new tab and open the Desmos Scientific Calculator. You remember you can find that on the Canvas homepage, or you can just Google search, or grab a handheld calculator of your choice. And let's go ahead and get started. So write 10/9 as a mixed number. Before we get into the operations, I want to make sure that we're clear. How do we write these improper fractions as mixed numbers? Well, we have two options. Option number 1, do it by hand, and option number 2, let technology help us. So if I want to write 10/9 as a mixed number, how do we do it by hand? Remember, we ask ourselves, how many times does 9 go into 10? Well, it goes in one whole time. And then how many is left over? Okay, well, if 9 goes into 10 one whole time, okay, we're going to have 1 left over. 10 minus 9 is 1, and 9th. Okay, option number 2 is to use my calculator. So I think the Desmos calculator is great for this. So what I do is go to my calculator, make sure it's clear, and I type in my fraction. So fraction, I wanted to convert 10/9. So 10/9. Now, if I come over here and click the button, you'll see, it was a decimal, or it stays as that 10/9. So how do I get that mixed number, that whole number and that fraction? Well, what whole number do we have? We have 1. So I'm going to come over here, and if I were to use my calculator, I would write 1, and then I'm going to write a fraction bar. I'm going to come over here. Well, take away, and that means I'm going to go back into my line. I'm going to take away that whole number. I'm going to take away the 1 that I just wrote down. And I'm left with just the decimal portion of what my number was. I click that fraction button. All of a sudden, I have my partial and 1/9. And you'll see that they match. All right. We're going to try our second practice problem. In reverse, we're going to do our calculator first, so 17/8. So let's practice doing that. 17/8. And you see that it's 2.125. So I'm going to come over here to make a fraction bar, 0.125. Well, what is 0.125 as a fraction? So to get rid of the 2, the whole number of 2, I'm going to subtract 2. And you'll see that the whole number goes away, and I'm just left with that decimal that I want to know what it is as a fraction. So I'm going to click the fraction button, and there it is, 1/8. Okay, well, does that match if I do it by hand? Sure does. How many times does 8 go into 17? It goes into 2 whole times. Remember, 8 times 2 whole times is 16. And 17 minus 16, it gives us 1 left over. So 1/8. Okay, so we're going to be doing these operations. It's important to know how to convert that to a mixed number. All right, so let's go ahead and practice this. Add your answer as add. We're going to write our answer as a mixed number in simplest form. So 5 2/3 plus 4 3/8. So we are going to use our scientific Desmos calculator. 5 fraction bar and 2/3. And we want to add 4 3/8. So fraction 3/8. Okay, we get 10.04. Now remember, if I click the fraction button, that's going to give me an improper fraction, but I need to write my answer as a mixed number. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to change it back to a decimal. 10.04167. Hey, I'm going to just write down for myself for a second 10, because I know that's my whole number, and then I'm going to write a fraction bar because I don't know yet what 0.041667 is as a fraction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrow over 1 and click subtract. I want to subtract, and I forgot to, I'm going to undo the subtraction so I can see the number. But I want to subtract the whole number away. So I want to get rid of that 10, so I'm going to subtract 10. So minus 10. Whoops. And that has to be in the same line. So minus 10. And you'll see there's my remaining, just the decimal. I'm going to click my fraction button. There it is. 1/24. And that is my answer. Okay, so your turn. Okay, go ahead and try this. Do the subtraction problem. I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to use my Desmos calculator, and once I get my answer, make sure you subtract the whole number away. All right. You should get an answer of 5 11/12. Because we haven't shown very many, I'm going to show you this one really quickly in your calculator to make sure you typed, if something went wrong, okay, you can figure out maybe what happened. So 9 and 1/16 minus 3 and 1/4. Okay, so I have 5.916. So I want to get rid of the 5 and just leave the decimal so I can see what that partial fraction is. So I'm going to minus the 5, minus the whole number. And I get my decimal remaining, click my fraction button, and I get 11/12. So that matches. 5 is my whole number, and 11/12 is my remaining fraction. All right, so let's go ahead and practice multiplication and division. Hey, multiply 2 and 3/7 by 2 and 4/5. Hey, multiplication is going to be the same. So let's demonstrate 2 and 3. Whoops, clear all. 2 and fraction 3/7. Times by 2 and 4/5. Okay, what do I get? 6.8. Okay, so 6 is my whole number. I'm going to come right over here and write that really quick. 6 is my whole number, and what's my fraction? Hey, I want to get rid of that whole number, so I'm going to arrow over minus 6. I got a remainder of 0.8, change that to a fraction, and 4/5. Great, so that's multiplication. Now remember, division's going to be a little bit different. So here is the key. Here's the key. When you type it into your calculator, and I'm going to demonstrate on here first. When you type it into your calculator, you want to make sure you put parentheses around the top, and I'm going to put parentheses around the bottom. So let me demonstrate that. So parentheses 9 and 3/4. Arrow over, close my parentheses, divided by, now that makes sure that 9 and 3/4 is one fraction on top. And we're going to divide our other fraction, which was 4 and 1/8. And there's my answer, 2.3636. So I'm going to come over here, and my whole number is 2. I'm going to write a fraction bar. So I'm going to subtract 2. There's my 36363. I'm going to click the fraction button, and I have 4/11 as my fraction. So there's my mixed number. All right, decimals, just want to make sure we talk about them for a second. Decimals, just use a calculator. Again, if they have parentheses in a problem, use parentheses. Remember the negative button on a Desmos calculator. I'm going to use the minus sign. On an actual calculator, on this calculator, you can see your negative sign is right here. On this calculator, your negative sign is right down here. Make sure you use those those calculators sometimes are picky about negatives. So 6.7 plus negative 3.3. I'm going to just do one more of these in our calculator. So 16.7 plus parentheses, because it included in the problem, negative 3.3. Close my parentheses. There's my answer. Now, if it doesn't say write your answer as a mixed number, I don't have to do that conversion, and I get 13.4. And I'm done. If you'd like to try the rest of these problems, go ahead on that calculator. I'll write the answers. Take a second and pause the video. Remember, this means to multiply. The dot means to multiply. My final answer is negative 2.75. And on my final question, my answer is 4.7. All right, that's the end of the video. Go ahead and log on to ALEKS. Practice using that online calculator or your very own calculator.